Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone this morning. Glad you could join the webinar. We are recording this webinar as well, so if you have to leave early, the webinar will be available later on our website, weomedia.com. So let's go ahead and get started. The topic this morning is dental implant marketing. And what we want to cover is really the finer points of creating a marketing program that will help drive dental implant patients to your practice. So for the agenda today, we're going to cover company information. We'll get into some background about the market briefly and talk about the sales process for how do you find and convert and generate patients for dental implants. In particular, we'll spend some time going through online marketing as well as direct consumer marketing. We'll have a case study towards the end to kind of illustrate what we talked about. And then also I've got two special offers from participating companies plus a free book as well for folks who watch the webinar today. So that's what we'll cover. So let's go ahead and get started. Real briefly, my background. So I'm one of the founders and partner at WEO Media, also a partner at DSO Project. And my background really has been the last 10 years in dental marketing with WEO Media and consulting with dental groups and so forth. So a lot of what we're going to share today is based on our experience at WEO Media. WEO Media is based in Portland, Oregon area. We've got about 50 staff members now. And all WEO Media does is dental marketing. So literally we work with hundreds of practices across the country. So what I'm going to share today is based on the services we provide. It's based on our experience. It's based on data. So our company is a full service marketing agency providing everything online, websites, SEO and PPC, which we'll talk about, video shoots and chat and pretty much everything you're going to need from a marketing perspective. So what I'm going to teach this morning is really based on experience, data, case studies. It's not kind of my theory about how I think this works. This is how we know it works based on lots and lots of experience. Our company, real quickly too, has won the ADA's Best of Class Award 4 years in a row now for being the top website and online marketing company in the industry. So again, we've built up our reputation on getting results for our clients. And so what I'm going to teach today really is based on our knowledge and experience. In particular, there are two industry partners that will be highlighted during this presentation because these are both obviously relevant for dental implants. Nobel Biocare, one of the premium implant providers in the world, and Patient Prism, which many of you may not have heard of, which we'll talk about both of these companies and how they can help drive implants patients to your practice as we go through the presentation this morning. So let's talk about the implant market briefly. I've got a few slides here just to kind of explain a little bit about the market. So overall, the dental implant market is growing worldwide. Premium brands have a little bit higher growth rate in terms of, overall market share compared to the value brands, but the growth is pretty solid in both. So the good news is if you're looking to place implants, the market is growing and continues to grow. Another trend that we're seeing really happen across the country really is the adoption of digital workflows. So this is something with guided surgery, with X-Guide navigation surgery. There's a lot of technology that's really coming into play to improve everyone's ability to place implants. So it's an exciting time to be in the implant game for sure. In particular, these are worldwide numbers. Doctors, 225,000 doctors placed about 20 million implants last year. So that's about 90 implants per doctor on average. What we see is, specialists, in particular oral surgeons and periodontists, typically placing, hundreds per year. General dentists, more like dozens per year. But it does vary quite a bit. What we also see in the market is that's a faster growth rate among general dentists, general practitioners, than we see among specialists. And I think that's because specialists have been doing implants for a long time and there are more and more general dentists getting involved in the implant game. So regardless of your specialist or GP, what we're going to talk about today is absolutely relevant for both parties, for both groups. Patients worldwide, there's just an enormous amount of opportunity out there. A lot of edentulous folks, but even for single and multiple implant patients, there are just millions and millions of opportunities out there. So it's not so much that the patients aren't out there, it's really how do we properly market and find them and convert those leads into opportunities in our practice. That's what we're going to focus on, is how do we grab some of these patients that are out there looking for a solution educate them about how we can help them and get them ultimately into your practice. That's what we're going to talk about here for the next 40 minutes. So let's briefly talk about the sales process. So if you can think about it in terms of a funnel, at the top of the funnel, we want to generate leads. And so we'll talk about generating leads here in just a minute. Once we've generated a lead, meaning we've got somebody to pick up the phone and call your practice, that's great. Now that we've got them on the phone, we need to convert that call into an appointment. We want them to actually schedule, make an appointment, and come into the practice. That's step 2, further down the sales funnel. And then towards the bottom of the sales funnel, this is where we want people to come in at the top and continue their process down the bottom, case acceptance, right? So once we've got them in the practice, we need to sell them on the dentistry. And so this is kind of the comprehensive flow for generating patients. In the webinar this morning, we'll really talk about these first 2 steps, but just be aware that you can do a great job of generating leads. You can do a great job of getting them to come in, but if you're not effectively convincing with case acceptance, you could still have a really lousy return on investment from your marketing program. So each one of these 3 is equally important, very important, but they're all very different. And so we'll primarily focus on these first 2 in the webinar today. So let's talk about step 1. How do we generate those leads? Well, we have a lot of options at our disposal. Over the years, we have worked with hundreds and hundreds of practices, and we've got to try all kinds of different things from a marketing perspective. Really, we can group these into 2 primary groups of marketing efforts. The first would be online marketing, website, search engine optimization to generate high Google rankings, paid ads on Google, which are PPC ads, online reviews, reputation management. These are kind of the core elements that really drive results for online marketing. And in terms of priority, we always recommend online marketing first and foremost. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, once your online marketing is dialed in, also direct consumer marketing or direct marketing also presents some really interesting opportunities to market in your area. That can be radio, print, TV, billboards, direct mail campaigns. There's lots of things that constitute direct marketing. And what's interesting about these is when you think about, should I do online marketing? Should I do direct consumer marketing? There are many things to consider in your process. So what I'm going to do here is go through about a half a dozen of these criteria, these factors, to help you understand online versus direct. Should I do this? Should I do that? And when? So let's first talk about the cost. Online marketing typically is going to be a lower cost than direct marketing. Online marketing can be kind of dialed in at a slower pace if you want to, or you can come out and be very, very aggressive. Direct marketing is almost always pretty darn expensive right out of the gate. There are not really cheap options to tiptoe your way into direct marketing. You're typically looking at $5,000, $10,000 a month to get started on a program like that for direct marketing, whereas online marketing, you can definitely come in at a lower price point. Now, predictability is a huge factor here. If you are going to do marketing, you want to have some sort of confidence that what you're putting out is actually going to bring you back return. What we see consistently time and time again with online marketing is it's got a very high level of predictability, meaning when we implement our SEO program and our PPC programs and our websites that are optimized to convert leads, when we do these things, we see time and time and time again, it works. It's predictable, it's reliable. We know within a pretty tight band of how this performance is going to go. Direct consumer marketing has far more variation. We've run campaigns and seen clients run campaigns that have been pretty successful with direct marketing, but a lot of times they're a huge waste of money. So you really need to be careful about what you do and when you do it when it comes to direct marketing. It can work. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying we need to prioritize online marketing first. How about reach? Meaning how broadly can I go after a target market? Well, there's really not a lot of difference here. Online marketing and direct consumer marketing both can have significant reach. Targeting, similar for targeting as well. Both direct marketing and online marketing can get pretty targeted in terms of demographics, in terms of geographic areas, in terms of services you want to focus on, implants in particular for this webinar. And so there's really, I would say, no big advantage to one or the other in terms of targeting. Both can be very targeted. What about return on investment, ROI? Well, online marketing, again, since it's so predictable and typically lower cost, we see very, very consistently a good to sometimes outstanding great returns on investment. It really, it's consistent and it's good at a minimum. With direct consumer marketing, there's just a lot more variability to it. We've seen some campaigns that have, great results, but we've seen a lot more campaigns that are marginal at best. So I just advise caution on that in terms of priorities and how do we do this and when do we do it. Online marketing is always recommended. That's always going to be the first thing we lead with, the first thing we recommend. You want to start there, get that dialed in, and then if you've maxed out your online marketing budget and you say, I want to go bigger, more aggressive, then take a hard look at direct consumer marketing options. But you don't want to start with direct marketing, nor do you want to engage in direct marketing before your online marketing is dialed in, because what happens is when you run that direct marketing campaign, be it radio, print, mailers, whatever, a high percentage of the people who get those or receive those ads are going to go online, Google search your practice, and start checking you out online. So it's really important to get your online marketing dialed in first before you spend the big bucks and go direct to consumer marketing. This is a common mistake I've seen made many, many times across the country. So if we focus on online marketing first, let's talk a little bit about that. So WEO Media, we talk a lot about the 6 pillars of online marketing. When we design a program for our clients, we have senior marketing consultants spread across the country who are experts at understanding your market. What they do is they'll look at your opportunities, your competition, your budget, your goals, and all these things. And then based on that, they'll build a program based around these 6 pillars of online marketing. The reason that it's important that all these things are covered and are solid, and you must include all of these things in a comprehensive program, is the average patient, when they're looking for a doctor, in particular for somebody to perform implants, they're going to do their research. This is a general marketing truism, not just for dental, but just for marketing in general. The more you spend on something, the more research you're going to do, right? Think about it in terms of buying a car. If you're just doing a single implant, you're spending $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. That's a lot of money for the average American. What if you're doing a full arch, like an all-on-4 treatment concept? You're looking at $20,000, $25,000 or more. That is like buying a car. So people will do their research. They're going to look at your website. They're going to check you out on Google. They're going to look at your reviews on probably Yelp, Healthgrades, Facebook, Google. They're going to look all over the place to gather as much information as they can before they pick up the phone and call. So you've really got to have a solid, robust, all 6 pillars engaged for your marketing program. Now, this is an important slide here too. What this does is it really kind of demonstrates not only why we need the 6 pillars, but how they convert. So when we do that direct consumer marketing, the top of the funnel here, where you're doing your radio, your print, your TV or whatever, like we said, we don't want to start with that. That would be maybe a phase 2 type of a thing. But when you engage in that type of activity, you typically see a response rate of between 1% to 3%. It's pretty low. Contrast that with what we see otherwise with digital marketing. So with your website and your social media, typically 10% to 20% of the people who come to those platforms will convert and pick up the phone and call you, and they become a lead. Even more so with review sites. So with Google, Yelp, and Healthgrades in particular, they range from 40% to 70% of the people hitting your review site will actually pick up the phone and call. So it doesn't always flow, but on average, this is how it flows. Is people start with your website and your social. When they're getting serious about making a decision, they look at your reviews. After they look at your reviews, they make a purchasing decision. That's generally how the flow works. Now, sometimes people might start with your Yelp page, then go to your website and call. So it doesn't always flow in this manner, but on average, the percentages bear out that this is typically the case. So it's really important that you dial in all aspects, all 6 of those pillars, and you can see why in particular the reviews become very important, because that's where a lot of people make their final decision. Now, it doesn't mean that social media and website are not important. Quite the opposite. They're super important, because a lot of times people don't go to your reviews if they're not satisfied with what they see on your social and your website. So each step is very, very important. So if we're going to talk about the websites in particular and the online marketing in particular, I want to now go through a few of the things you need to know about websites, SEO, and PPC to really give you some of the fundamentals about how to do this. And more importantly, if you're looking to hire a company to do these things for you, what you should be looking for and what questions you should ask. So let's look at a website. I'm going to start with the kind of a cross-section of a home page of a website and work my way down the page and kind of pointing out as we go the important elements that are critical for online marketing. So at the top of the website, you're going to want to have an appointment request button and your phone number. Now, the biggest conversion element on any website is the phone number. Over 90% of the leads you're ever going to generate from your online marketing will be through the phone. Some people will do live chat. Some people will fill out appointment request form. But in general, well over 90% of conversion on every website is going to be the phone. So it's really important to have that phone number, top of the page, easy to see, nice, big, clear font. Now, as we scroll down, it's really important as much as possible. I mean, stock photos are okay, but the more you can use actual photos of the practice or staff, actual videos of the practice or staff, those things are very impactful. They really help communicate a sense of what is the identity of this practice and who are these people, right? So one of the biggest reasons, in fact, the two biggest reasons people don't come to the doctor are fear and money. Now, we're not going to address the money thing on your website, but we absolutely want to address the fear thing on your website. What I mean by that is people have anxiety, they're scared, they're nervous. When you can show actual photos and in particular videos, what the videos do is they bring that fear level down. The anxiety level drops when they can watch a video and see, oh, okay, I see the doctors, I see the staff, it looks friendly, they look like they know what they're talking about, they've got some expertise. It's a nice, clean, modern looking office. Whatever it is that we can highlight in that video that are your strengths, those things help form a connection between the person looking at your website and your website, and your practice ultimately. So the videos are super, super important. Now, as we scroll down further on this homepage, what do we see? Well, we see some calls to action here. Teeth in 1 day treatment concept. So this is the all-in-4 treatment concept, essentially, Nobel. Implant tooth restoration. So this practice in particular is trying to focus on implants as some of their primary things. So we want to call those out with some boxes they can click on. Likewise, right below that, we see a smile gallery. Now, if you're doing anything with your patients that have a strong before and after component, which implants obviously do, you definitely want to feature before and after photos on your website. Now, in this case, if this was a live website, this would be kind of a slideshow showing before and after going back and forth. This is just a static slide, so I'm just showing the before. But a lot of times it's a good idea to have a smile gallery showing the before and after photos. Because again, if I'm thinking about spending between $4,000 and $25,000 or more at your practice, I want to see some evidence that you're good. I want to know that you know what you're doing. And so before and after photos are one of the best ways to kind of, again, build confidence with the people coming to your website. If we scroll down further, not a bad idea to have testimonials with a little button, read more testimonials. That's always a good thing to have. And then last but not least, typically at the bottom of the website, there'll be kind of a reiteration of the contact information. Usually there's some sort of Google map. Now this is the desktop on a mobile website. These components would all be there as well. It would just obviously be structured different on a mobile homepage. This is just the homepage. What about the rest of the website? Well, when you get into the service pages, it's very important to have educational text, images, and in particular videos. Now you can use kind of some stock videos that again explain, hey, here's the all-in-4 treatment concept, here's how this works. Or even better than that, perhaps, or in addition to that, would be what if you had the doctor giving his or her philosophy on here's why we do this particular implant treatment program. Here are indications that you might be a good candidate for this. Here's why we use premium implants. If you're using a cone beam, talk about your cone beam. If you're using an X-guide or some sort of guided surgery, talk about the benefits of that. If you had doctors doing like a little interview videos, put that on these pages. Highly impactful to help patients convince them that you know what you're doing. Video testimonials are also fantastic. Again, we want to see that before and after. We want to see that life-changing impact. If you're a doctor on this webinar right now and you've placed implants, you know the impact it has on your patients. It's huge. It's life-changing. They see, wow, I can smile again. I can eat that food that I didn't used to. I now have the social confidence to go out and maybe go on a date or go out with my spouse or whatever. So implants are absolutely life-changing. We want to capture that impact with video testimonials. So if you can do that and get a patient to who's willing to do a video for you, these are marketing gold. I cannot overemphasize how important these are to do. Now, anything you do with a patient on your website, you need to have that patient sign a marketing release form. Every state is different. So I would love to just be able to email everybody on this webinar, hey, here's a marketing release form, go and use it. But the reality is every state dental board has different rules and regulations. And so it does vary a lot state to state. So my recommendation always is contact your state dental board or association and maybe even engage with an attorney who understands dental and make sure you've got a really great marketing release form and then have every patient sign that form, especially those who are going to be leveraged in your marketing. Now, if you can't get a video testimonial, well, a written testimonial is the next best thing, right? And if you can have written, it's, again, more impactful if you can show before and after photos with that testimonial. Now, some programs out there, like at WEO Media, we have a program where we can automatically use texting and emailing to drive reviews to a practice's various pages online, Google, Facebook, health grades, and so forth. Well, what's cool is in our websites, we have a little bit of a little piece of code called an iframe. What this little piece of code does, we put it in the website and it automatically pulls in all of your good reviews from around the internet and puts them right in your website. So again, if we're trying to convince patients to use us for dental implants, we're their provider, we're the doctor they want to call, it's great to have as much information as you can on your website to convince them that yes, we're good, we know what we're doing, you can trust us. So videos, testimonials, reviews brought in like through this iframe, all these things build a case why they should choose you and not go back to their Google search and look for the next doctor. So that's the website. Now, mobile optimization is a critical component of your website. Over half of the traffic on most dental websites, between 50 to 70% in most markets, the average is around 60%. Most of that traffic is going to be on a mobile device, in particular a phone. And so it's really, really important that your site be optimized for mobile. Now, if you're not sure if your website is optimized for a mobile phone, there are a couple things you can do. One of them is you can just go onto Google. In the search, on the Google search little bar there, just type in Google mobile friendly test, the green text right there. Just type in Google mobile friendly test into your browser, hit return. Up you'll see, in the search results, you'll see either a direct result where you can type it in right there, or you can click on it and it will take you to this mobile friendly test. In either case, what you do here is you enter your www.mywebsite.com, whatever that is, hit the little button that says test URL, and in less than a minute, Google will spit back a result which tells you if your site is yes, mobile friendly, you're good, or if it's not, then you've got issues and you need to immediately get a hold of your website company and have that fixed, because over half of your traffic is going to your mobile phone. And if it's not really optimized well, then you're losing a lot of potential patient flow, which is bad news, especially if you're spending a lot of money on marketing. What else on a website? Well, videos in particular are quite impactful. Like I mentioned earlier, video testimonials, the overview video on the homepage, these things are all great. There's an organization called Search Engine Watch that did a study, and what they found was if you put a video on a web page, a lot of times you get between a 400% to a 700% increase in the engagement rate, the response rates on those web pages. So now this varies by industry and by type of business, whether you're e-commerce or service or whatever, but the point of this is videos have a massive impact, a positive impact on improving the engagement performance of a website. So we highly recommend you use videos on your website. Live chat is another thing to think about for your website. So a lot of people who come to your website are going to primarily call. However, there are a growing percentage of people that would rather not talk to you on the phone because they're uncomfortable, they don't want to be sold to, whatever. They would much prefer to just engage online. So live chat is a great way to do that. WEO Media, we offer a 24/7 live chat service, which is nice. And what we find is the typical conversion rate is around 2 to 3% of the traffic. And so what that looks like would be, let's say you have 500 website visitors coming to your website this month. Okay, on average, 2 to 3% of those people would engage in a chat conversation, meaning you would have 10 to 15 chats roughly. And out of those chats, about 20% of those would engage and become patients. Now, sometimes we see this as high as 40%. It just really varies, but I'm being conservative here. So if you can get 2 to 3 or more extra new patients a month by simply putting a chat on your website, that is a no-brainer. You're taking advantage of the traffic you're already generating through your marketing. Get more results from that, right? This is one of the ways to capture more and more patient opportunities. And so I always encourage people to use live chat on their website, especially if they have decent volume of visitors per month. Okay, that was websites. Now let's shift gears and talk about search engine optimization. Search engine optimization is basically an ongoing process to optimize that website so that it will rank very highly in an organic search result on a search engine such as Google, Yahoo, or Bing. When we're doing SEO to get your website to rank really high on a search, we do things that are on page, meaning on the website itself, website code, website content, videos, all this kind of thing. We also do a set of techniques called off-page techniques. These would be things like your social media, your online reviews, directories. So there's a whole huge amount of things that go into how do you rank on Google. And so if we do a search, let's say I go into Google here and I do a search for dentist in Sacramento, California, and I get these search results. At the top in the blue, those are paid ads. About 6% of all people who are surfing the internet will click on the ads. About 94% will click on the organic search results, which would be the map and the 10 organic results below the map. So when we talk about SEO, search engine optimization, we're talking about organic search. So I'm going to talk about both of these, but I'll start with organic. So with SEO for organic search, it's kind of complicated. Google's search algorithm has over 200 variables it looks at. So there's over 200 things Google's looking at to determine how high to rank your website versus other websites in your market. Things like the code and the content, there's a lot of these things, and I'll talk about this in a minute. Other things to understand about SEO, Google makes changes to their algorithm literally hundreds of times per year, once, twice, 3 times a day. It's kind of a moving target. But the fundamentals don't change a ton, but they do change. Now, in terms of search volume, Google's between 65 to 68% of the search volume in North America on average. Bing is hovering around 18 or 20%, and Yahoo's around 10%. So the big dog, of course, is Google. We talk about Google. You want to focus on Google, and you want to optimize for Google. And wherever you land on Bing and Yahoo, so be it. But you really want to focus your efforts on maximizing and optimizing your Google rankings. So if we could take those over 200 variables and group them into 6 kind of primary groups of stuff, these would be the 6 kind of biggest, most important groups of stuff, SEO stuff. So we've got website code, website content, incoming links to the website, online directories, online reviews, and social media. Now, we could spend an hour just talking about these 6 things. For the brevity of this webinar today, I'm just going to make you aware that these are all really important areas that your search engine optimization company, your digital marketing agency should be doing. If you're paying them for SEO, they should be working on all these things, ideally. So we'll talk about that more later, but this is something that, again, you want to make sure that you have a comprehensive program going on with your SEO. Now, SEO is the organic search, PPC, or pay per click. This is the 6% now. This is the paid search. Now, paid search is really important when we talk about dental implant marketing in particular because of the price point. So how this works, I've got a few slides here to demonstrate the importance and the technical stuff that goes into really optimizing a PPC campaign. So how do these things work? Well, first you start with selecting some keywords, and you'll say, I want to rank for dental implant Sacramento, okay? And then you set a daily budget, and maybe it's $30 a day, $50 a day, whatever it is. Well, if you're getting charged, let's say $10 a click, and you have $50 budget, so after 5 clicks, your ad is done for the day. So if your 5th click happens at 1 p.m., well, between 1 p.m. and midnight, your ad won't show up. So you've got a lot of prime time hours there that you're not getting any clicks. And so when you set a budget with your digital marketing agency, they're going to recommend a budget that will be big enough that you're not missing out on, prime time clicks, but not so big that you're just, wasting money. So there's always a sweet spot in every market, and it varies, but generally it has a lot to do with the population density in your area. Now, what's nice about pay-per-click ads is they're immediate traffic. So if you think of SEO, the organic search optimization, that's more of a marathon. That takes months and months and months to get results because Google's only evaluating you once a month on your SEO performance. So it often takes 6 months, 9 months, even 12 months to get really, really good SEO results. But once you get them, the return on investment is fantastic. So it's always worth investing heavily in your SEO program. However, PPC is a sprint, not a marathon. So with the PPC ads, as soon as we turn those ads on, the clicks start happening today and the calls could potentially start happening today. And so this is a really nice complement to SEO. Now, I like to use this map here to demonstrate how the proper way to use SEO and PPC and how this works. So here's Anaheim, California, right? We're now in Los Angeles, okay? Anaheim, you'll notice, is kind of highlighted with a lighter color than the darker surrounding areas. So we're going to focus on Anaheim. And let's say that's my practice right there. That little red star is my practice, okay? I'm a general dentist, and I want to now market for dental implants. So how this works is when we think about how do we design a marketing program for your practice, well, one of the first things we're going to think about, what's the radius around your practice that you're likely to pull in patients from? I'm just picking an arbitrary circle here just for demonstration purposes. So let's say this is the radius that this practice can pull patients from, okay? Now, how this works is SEO works based on your physical address. So what that means is, because my address is in Anaheim, I'm an Anaheim practice. When I try to rank on a Google search, I will rank for potentially for Anaheim dentist or dentist Anaheim, or search terms related to Anaheim, but not for Westminster or Buena Park or some of the surround Lakewood or some of the surrounding areas, because I don't have a physical address there. So what do I do if I want to get traffic from these areas that are really close by, but I don't have a physical, they don't have the physical same address as me? Well, that's where PPC comes in. SEO will get you ranking for the city you have a physical address in. PPC will fill in the gaps where you don't. Now, this is common for the vast majority of dentists that we work with at WEO Media. This is what happens. You have a practice in one city, but you pull a good chunk of patients from maybe surrounding cities or areas. And so PPC is an invaluable strategy to help you get traffic from these areas where it's close enough that they'll come to your practice and become a patient, but not so far away that they won't. And so this is where SEO and PPC work together. And this is the proper way to structure a program, is use your PPC where you're not going to get traction from SEO. The next big thing we want to focus on are reviews. Now in dentistry, we talk about the big four. Now when I'm looking for a dental implant doctor to help me out, or a doctor, sometimes I don't know that I need a dental implant. I just know I've got bloody gums, I've got missing teeth, I've got issues, I'm in pain, I need a dentist, right? So there's a lot of things I might look for. And as we looked at that funnel earlier, the lead conversion funnel, we know review sites are super important. Now, in dentistry, in particular for dentistry, these are the big four. These are the four most important review sites. Google, obviously because it's the largest search engine. HealthGrades is the largest healthcare directory of doctors in the United States. Yelp is the biggest review site and has major SEO clout. And then Facebook, of course, is the largest social media platform. So all four of these are very, very important. All four of these get a lot of traffic for patients when they're checking out a potential doctor. So what matters here, let's say, okay, Ian, I need to improve my reputation online. Now, what do I do? Well, let's talk about what really matters. So first and foremost, you need to be generating new reviews every month for several reasons. Patients want to see reviews that are recent because that means more to them than old reviews. And also the way Google works and all the search engines, they reward constant ongoing updates to your website, to your reviews, to your social media. And so having fresh ongoing content is really helpful for both of those things, for your reputation and for your SEO. Now, how many reviews should I go after? Well, that really depends on your competition. So what you want to do is Google, the doctors that you feel are your competition in the area, see how many Google reviews they have, and then I would target to have at least 50 more than them. You want to be a lot more. You want some real separation. So when I'm a patient and I see this guy down the street's got 22 reviews, but you've got 95, like, wow, that guy has 95 reviews. Very likely you're going to get the lion's share of those potential leads. What else matters? Well, actually, the most important thing is the average star rating. The minimum is 4.0. If you have a 4.0 average or above, that's good. If you're below 4.0, you have major work to do. You got to get on that right away. There's a massive drop off in the conversion. If you have a 3 point anything or below, a lot of patients won't call your practice. So you've got to get at least 4.0 and above. And really the goal you're shooting for is 4.5 and above. We see there's significant differences in conversion between these different star rating areas. So 4.0 is the minimum, 4.5 and above is really where you want to be. The quantity also matters. Again, if I've got 10 or 12 reviews and the guy down the street's got 75, I've got very little chance of beating him. Even if I've got a 4.9 average and he's got a 4.3, because he's got so many reviews, he's probably still going to beat me and get a lot of those leads. So this is what you really want to focus on. How do you do this? I highly recommend using some sort of automated software program that really uses text messaging primarily, because that converts a lot better than emailing. At WEO Media, we offer a service called WEO Reviews. There are others on the market, but use something. I don't care what you use, just use something, because this is critically important for your digital marketing and to convince people to come see you for dental implants. Okay, so step one, we talked about converting the lead, right? We got a good website. We're doing our SEO and PPC to drive the traffic. We're using live chat. We're using videos. We're driving those leads. That's great. Now, how do we convert those leads? Let's talk about that. Well, one of the most important things you're going to want to do to convert leads is understand what's happening with your leads. So you have to use tracking phone numbers to understand how many calls are coming in and where are they coming from. So that's kind of the first step, is knowing what you've got to deal with. Now, Once you're doing that, you're going to want to record these calls and make sure that they're being, number one, that they're being answered. I did an analysis a while back looking at a bunch of dental websites, and I found on average it was between 25 and 35% of the calls were not even being answered. And these were of clients who are paying thousands of dollars a month to market with us, and about a third of their calls were going to voicemail. So if you're spending $2,000 or $3,000 a month to get calls and then you don't answer a third of them, you just lit, $1,000 a month on fire. It's a disaster. So it is amazing to me how many practices aren't paying attention to this. You need to record these, you need to analyze the data, and you need to really make sure that you're getting some staff training in place. A lot of staff can have, I would say a nice way to say this is there's plenty of upside to improve from what I've seen. So you really want to invest in staff training. Whoever's answering the phone, whether it's your staff or a call center, you want to make sure that they're answering all the calls and they're doing a good job. The best way to do that is to use a program called Patient Prism. Patient Prism is a relatively new company in the industry. They've only been around a few years, but they're super, super impressive. What their platform does is it uses a combination of artificial intelligence and live dental coaches with a really powerful platform online to record all your calls, analyze all your calls. And what it does is, this is really cool. It's the coolest thing I've seen in a while. So every single call, you can log into their program and it will have a readout like this. This is the actual call recording. And you'll see like these little green highlighted areas. Those are areas where the person answering the phone, handling the call, the person did a good job. And they'll have comments. If you hover over the green, it will say, hey, well, here's what they did well. The yellow are areas, well, maybe they could have done a little bit better here. And then the red are areas like, wow, they really kind of blew it here. Here's what they should do. And so the live dental coaches literally listen to every new patient call. And if you had a potential new patient who called your practice but did not schedule, then Patient Prism will send you a notification within 1 hour saying, hey, you had a potential new patient call they didn't schedule. And so they send you an email notifying, and that email can go to whoever, the doctor, the practice manager, the marketing coordinator, whoever. And that person can then follow up. Patient Prism calls those reloads, re-engage loss opportunity. Reloads generate a lot of new patient flow for practices. So there are so many benefits. This is not a big Patient Prism webinar today, but I wanted to explain a little bit about this because it is so powerful. Just last week, I was on the East Coast working with one of our clients who spends a lot of money on marketing with us. We use Patient Prism to analyze and make huge improvements in our call conversion already within the first month. So I can't emphasize enough how important it is to use this. And I do have a free trial offer coming up about Patient Prism in a minute. So stay tuned for that. Okay, let's wrap all this together. Let's talk about if we're doing our online marketing and really driving results, what should this look like? What could this look like? So here's one of our clients. This is an oral surgeon in the Phoenix, Arizona area. His goal was to generate more dental implant patients. So what did we do? Well, we took a look at his current situation and said, okay, well, he wasn't really spending much with digital marketing prior, which is, not unusual. Most oral surgeons are not. He wasn't really ranking particularly well, maybe on page 2 or below for major search items. And he just really wasn't paying much attention to his digital marketing. He wasn't ranking well. His site wasn't optimized, and he had very few reviews. 1 Google review, nothing on Health Grades, and 9 on Facebook. So this was really kind of starting at ground zero. This was kind of nowhere to go but up. This is not good. What did we do? Well, we built him a new website so that it would be secure and mobile optimized and SEO friendly. We did SEO and PPC. We did our review software, so all the things we talked about. We shot a nice overview video. And so there were some setup fees. And then his monthly ongoing budget was about $2,000 a month. It's since increased, but that's what he started with. So what happened? Well, let's start with reviews. Here's his starting point, right? Before he started using our WEO review system, he had not much. After about a year, massive increase. And this is a 1-doctor oral surgery practice. If you have a general dentistry practice, you're going to see a lot more patients. You could see a lot bigger increase in the number of reviews. Or if you have a surgery or perio practice with multiple doctors, again, you could see even bigger results in this. But this is really still quite good. So what happened was we implemented all these things. We increased his Google rankings to page 1 for every major term he wanted to rank for. We were adding about 12 reviews per month, primarily on Google. So his online marketing performance dramatically changed. Now from this, what's really cool about this case study is the doctor and his office manager, they went through all of the online marketing data for the year and cross-referenced it with all their new patients. And they found 80, when this is what they told me, they said, you gave us 85 new patients that year. And so we looked at, what was the impact on implants? Because remember, his goal was to increase his implant patients. Well, we know that he more than doubled his implants. In fact, they went up 118%. Now, this is an oral surgeon who had been in practice for over a decade. This was not a guy who just started placing implants yesterday. This is a guy who was already doing a significant volume of dental implants. So you take an oral surgeon who's already doing a lot of implants and more than double it, he's a happy camper. In fact, here's what it looked like. So he was spending about that $2,000 a month that I mentioned on those 85 patients that generated over $250,000 in revenue. So the return on investment was over 11 times. That's a huge return on investment. What we typically see at WEO Media is in the first year, anywhere from 3 to 7 times. And then in the second year, it can be anywhere from 5 to 12 or more times. So the first year, you're paying some setup fees for a website and a video and so forth, and you're not at the top of the rankings yet. So the first year results won't be as good as year 2 and beyond. But what we find is our clients who stick with us for at least 12 months, they just kill it. They do really, really good. Okay, so what are some of the key takeaways? If you're saying, Ian, what do I need to focus on? What do I need to do going forward if I want to drive more implant patients? So let's talk about that. One of the important things you need to understand is budget. So there's an organization called the Academy of Dental CPAs. It's a national organization with dozens of dental CPAs. Currently, they represent over 9,000 dental practices that they do accounting for. So they have an enormous amount of data and information on what people spend and what results and how that correlates to growth and performance. What they found and what they recommend is practices that want to grow who are growing healthily are spending between 3% to 7% of their gross revenue on marketing. So if your practice is, let's say you're doing $1 million a year on revenue, 3% to 7% would be $30,000 to $70,000 a year, which would be about $2,500 to $5,000 a month. That's what the ADCPA recommends. And in fact, that's exactly what we see with our clients at WEO Media. We find our clients that are spending between $1,500 and $5,000 a month per location are doing very, very well. And the reason is, again, all 6 pillars have to be addressed. You have to do the website, the SEO, the PPC, the reviews, the social, and the videos. You can't do all those things effectively and well for under $1,500 a month. You just can't. So this is what it costs to get results. But again, it's about return on investment. So sometimes I talk with doctors and they go, oh boy, that's a lot of money. Well, if you spend $2,000, but it makes you $10,000, is it really a lot of money? No, it's a great investment. So we need to think as business owners, not just clinicians. And this is one of the ways we need to think about that is how much should I be investing in marketing? 3 to 7%. What else? Well, the 6 pillars, obviously we need to focus on those things. We need to be tracking where patient comes from, using those tracking phone numbers, using Patient Prism so you can record those calls, do the analysis, really make those big improvements, really important. And then if you're hiring a digital marketing company, you're going to want to make sure you're having kind of some sort of ongoing touch points with them, whether it's monthly or quarterly, but you're going to want to sit down and talk with them and say, hey, how's it going? Here's what I'm seeing on my side. What are you seeing on your side? And comparing notes and seeing, are you getting the type of results you're looking for, the ROI, the patient flow, et cetera. And a good digital marketing company should be able to partner with you. And this is the difference between a partner and a vendor. A vendor is somebody who simply sells you something, right? A partner is how WEO Media was built. WEO Media is a partner, is a consultative company. So we are working with our clients hand in hand ongoing to help them get the results that they're looking for. It's very much a partnership. Now, one thing that I find is often overlooked is the implant rep themselves. Now, you've got a handful, very few, 3, 4, these really premium players, of which Nobel Biocare is probably the most well-known in the world. And we've worked with Nobel Biocare for years. They do a great job, and they make, obviously, some of the best implants out there. So here's a huge difference, though. And sometimes I'll talk to doctors like, oh, I'm using so-and-so implant, and it's some kind of cheap knockoff implant. And I say, well, what's that company doing for you to help you grow their business? Like, well, nothing. They just sell me screws, right? Titanium screws. Well, yeah, that's what you get for really cheap, crappy implants. So if you use a premium provider like Nobel, it's a massive improvement what they can do for your practice. They can bring in CE courses and training, expert advice, both for themselves, and they have a huge resource of people. Nobel reps also, I've seen them do this many, many times. They do like a business development plan. Well, they'll sit down with the doctor and actually plan out, what do we need to do? Doc, you're doing this many implants. You want to get to from here to there. Here's what we can help you do to get there. And they actually sit down and will build a business plan with you to do that. And then they can bring in all of their resources to help this. Now, the vast majority of our clients at WEO Media that are doing high implant volumes, guess who they're using? A premium implant provider, primarily Nobel Biocare. That's not a coincidence. There's a huge opportunity to take advantage of your premium implant provider. Yes, the implants cost more, of course, but you get so much more than a superior implant. You get whole ton of help building your business, which to me is absolutely invaluable. The practices we see that are successful are leveraging technology and they're leveraging their Nobel reps. Highly recommend that. Okay, I mentioned a couple of free of trial offers here. So here's the first one. I highly recommend Patient Prism. We're starting to recommend it for WEO Media. We'll be recommending this to all of our clients because it's just so powerful. If you go to patientprism.com/trial90, there'll be a little orange form that you can fill out. Fill out that form and schedule a demo. What they'll do is they'll give you a live demo where they'll kind of walk you through it and show you how it works. And then if you want to engage, they'll give you a special, and you can only get this from this landing page, 50% off of their price for the first 3 months. That's really, really affordable. The product itself is not very expensive anyways, but it's well worth doing the 3-month trial to try it out. What I've seen from all the clients that I've seen using it so far, it's had a major impact. So I highly recommend, if you're spending any money on marketing, or even if you just have healthy call volume coming into your practice, you really should invest in Patient Prism. It'll pay for itself in no time. Here's the other offer, WEO Media, my company. So if you go to our website, in the top right, there's a little free consult button. If you click on that free consultation button and fill out the really brief little form, one of our senior marketing consultants will contact you and really do a nice deep dive of your practice. They'll analyze your website, your digital marketing, your SEO performance, and they'll give you, based on your goals and needs and budget and competition, they'll analyze all that stuff. And based on that, they will give you some recommendations for how they could help. Now, to sweeten the offer, I've written a book, and it will be coming out. It's being published next month. And so anybody who engages in a free consultation with one of our consultants, we'll give you a free book as well, just because we really believe in what we're doing. Our approach is all about education. This webinar, as you can see, this is an educational webinar. The book is purely educational. So everything we do, our consultants, they try to educate, and by demonstrating our expertise and our ability, we're trying to help. That ultimately drives people to trust us and say, hey, well, you guys seem like you're good, and we'll give you a shot. And that's how we grow. We're not pushy salespeople. We educate. We're really technical. We're really good at what we do. We just want to educate so you understand the process. So that's been the webinar this morning. I'm not going to turn on live Q&A because there's a lot of people on the webinar, and that would make it a little bit hard on the sound quality. So I'm going to leave my contact information up here for a few minutes. What I would encourage you to do is send me an email, ian@weomedia.com. If you have any questions at all about dental marketing, implant marketing, or anything we've covered here, please send me an email. I'd be happy to answer your questions. And if you'd like to engage with our practice consultants, I can direct you to the appropriate consultant for your area. We have consultants spread all across the country. But I want to really thank everyone for joining the webinar this morning. Again, this is being recorded and will be posted to our website here. So I really appreciate everyone's time today, and I hope you got some valuable information. And I really hope that you can grow your implant practice as a result of what you learned here today. Thank you very much, and have a good day.